Alright, welcome to round one. We're playing a match against Ravioli. We won the die roll, so we will go first. And this hand is really awkward because it has a Scred, but no snow lands. And then we don't have any real ways to draw cards if we don't draw more lands. So I'm gonna mulligan. The most important thing for a control deck is hitting land drops. So here, this is not a great hand again. We have two of our finishers in our opening hand, and we only have one land, and it's an evolving wild, so if we scry, see a land on top, and we have to like keep it, we can't crack wilds on turn one, which slows us down. So I'm gonna go down to 5. Opponent kept 7. This hand is also just has no lands. Okay. Snow-covered island and a brainstorm. We'll keep a land on top. So, we're probably going to lose this because we mulligan to 4. But I have won games on mulligan to 4 anyway, so I guess we'll see how it goes. Yep. Alright, so basic swamp usually means mono black control. There are some like mono black aggro decks that are popping up, but those usually have 1-drops. So it could also be like blue-black, but those usually have tapped lands or lead on island, but they didn't. Alright. So this means they probably don't have Counterspell in their hand specifically. They might have something like an Essence Scatter, an Agony Warp, an Echoing Decay, a Doomblade, something like that. I'm just going to keep passing until I miss my land drop, and then I will brainstorm. Alright, this is a perfect exclude target. Counter it, draw a card. Alright, miss my land drop. Time to brainstorm. Magma Spray is actually going to be surprisingly solid here. Oof, this is not good. Well, I can't use any of the blue cards, so I'm gonna put back Exclude and Memory Lapse and play this Forest. The reason I don't put back Brainstorm, there's actually a specific reason, and that's because if my opponent plays Swamp into Chittering Rats next turn, I want the Brainstorm on top so I can cast it next turn. Seagate Oracle I can't do anything about. Magma Spray doesn't even kill it. That's fine. We'll save our Magma Spray for a Chittering Rats or an Archaeomancer. Okay, so I actually should have kept Exclude on top, but that's okay. Here, I'm just going to pass the turn. If we brainstorm to hit another land and we don't hit an island or any sort of blue source, then we're in a lot of trouble. Kind of hope this is a Muldrifter right now. I can Memory Lapse it, and then, okay, it's not anything. So, I'm going to keep passing here. It's unfortunate that our opponent gets to make land drops while we don't, but I don't want to lower my shields with this Brainstorm if I don't have to, because something like a Muldrifter would be very problematic for us to deal with. It would pull my opponent even more ahead on cards. I just don't want to let that happen if I can help it. Alright, now I'm going to Brainstorm. End of their turn. They didn't do anything. And I don't know any of the top 3 cards, so that's a perfect time to Brainstorm. Okay. So this is a real good draw. I'm a little wary about the rewind in this matchup, but Sprite and Magma Spray are really bad too. I'll put the Sprite back first and then the Magma Spray. And we can use Teachings to shuffle away the Sprite after we add tap and draw the Magma Spray. The reason I'm keeping Spray over Sprite is because this deck, known as Ratlock, doesn't play very many... Ratlock or Blue-Black Flicker are both names for it. It doesn't play very many 1-drops at all. They're trying to assemble Chittering Rats, Archaeomancer, and something else. What is it? Chittering Rats, Archaeomancer, and Ghostly Flicker, and get me down to 1 card in hand, and then they can flicker Archaeomancer and Chittering Rats, make me put that card back on top, and return the flicker with the Archaeomancer to keep going. So here I could cast Teachings. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave open the island to bluff a Dispel. I'm definitely not Magma Spraying anything this turn, because they don't have any flash creature that would be relevant. They don't have any flash creatures, I don't think. Not in blue or black at common. The only real flat, except for Spellstutter Sprite, but that's not relevant to the Teachings. Alright, they're just hard countering it. That's fine. Guess I have to draw this Spellstutter Sprite. It's okay, though. Now I can Memory Lapse and Exclude, which is really sweet if they ever like cast a spell and then decide to try to fight over it. Right now they have 6 mana. They'll have 7 when they replay the Radiant Fountain. So if they play Muldrifter with Counterspell backup, I can like exclude that. They cast a Counterspell, and I get to Memory Lapse the Counterspell, which I don't want them drawing a Counterspell next turn, but it's better than letting the Muldrifter resolve, so I'll go for it. This is definitely not a deck that I want any Spellstutter Sprites against, because they just don't run 1-drops, so the first copy is often just dead. Okay. Trickery is fine. If my opponent doesn't play anything next turn, I will run out the Spellstutter Sprite end of turn to try to get some sort of clock on them, or to block and then Magma Spray. So we'll see. They're unearthing a Seagate Oracle. Well, that is a perfect Spellstutter Sprite target, so we're gonna cast that. It's like one of the only cards in their deck. Like this unearth, a couple Disfigures, and a couple Preordains. Alright. So they can't cast. Let's see, have they played a land? They haven't played a land. If they keep fighting over this unearth, then they can't cast Muldrifter this turn. I'm gonna go ahead and Memory Lapse. And Disfigure is a fine card to put on top of their library, because once I've gotten this Spellstutter Sprite trigger, we just really don't care about the Disfigure at all, ever. So it's a great card. Memory Lapse is like probably doing more than a card of work here, because it's like cementing our good 1-for-1 and then all that stuff. So we might see a Muldrifter here, and that's where I'll fire off the Magma Spray. Yeah. It's not the best Magma Spray in the world, but I really have to get it out of the way. Like, get the Drifter out of the way if I ever want to be able to connect with the Sprite, which I don't necessarily want to do. Like, I don't necessarily care about in the context of how I'm going to win this game, but still nice. Alright, so I'm going to cycle this for another island. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm going to cycle it for a swamp so I can flashback Teachings. I would love to, like, if I draw a land next turn, be able to cast Exclude plus Rewind, but I'm not sure exactly. Like, I would rather have the option to Teachings next turn. Once I untap, that's probably a little bit more important. Oh, excuse me. Just waiting for our opponent to respond here. Excuse me. Gonna bash in for damages. And pass the turn. We are losing this race quite severely, but it'll save us some, like, clock time in the long run, because it'll mean one fewer hit with Sprout Swarm or the Centaur. So that'll, like, we're getting marginal value with this sprite, but we're definitely not blocking, so there's no reason not to crack in. All right. Also, if I just keep attacking them, I just finally get fed up and, okay, there's the Disfigure, that's fine. I care absolutely zero about that. And then we're still playing a draw go game. The other Exclude is not bad. If they try to cast a big creature, I Exclude, and they counter my Exclude, I can just let that happen and cast the other one. And then I'll flash back the Mystical Teachings end of their turn if they don't do anything. Just make them use the card to counter it. Alright, yeah. So we're flashing this back. It resolved. Okay, that's great. I'm just gonna get another Teachings then. Thanks for giving me card advantage, opponent. Like, the logic here is that if you have a counter spell, you counter whatever your opponent gets with Teachings. But the problem is they can just get another Teachings, and then if you counter that, they still have the flashback. So it's just not the best. This is perfect to Exclude here. So we're going to do it. And it worked. That is fantastic. Are they casting a Muldrifter? Oh, wow. Second Exclude is just so good. Okay, so we're actually in this game now, despite mulliganing to 4. It's really impressive. There's the Scrounger. I want another forest. Or, sorry, not another forest, another island. So that I can cast Rewind plus Memory Lapse. I'm going to pass turn. I'm still taking 1, but we're at 6 cards and 6 cards. And we both have, like, 7 or 8 mana. And I think my deck is much better equipped for the long game than theirs is. So if they just keep, like, passing turn and stuff, it's getting rewound. Whoops. Hang on. Alright. There we go. It's getting rewound, and we can, like... Okay, cool. Island, mountain, forest. Okay. So now we get to Teachings. And Memory Lapse. That's great. Gonna get... probably just a hard counter spell. Maybe an Exclude. What I should have done is I made a mistake that could be pretty significant. There, I countered, like, I should have responded to the second Archaeomancer by Teachings for counterspell and just hard countering it. That would have been a lot better. But we draw the memory lapse, so that's fine. We drew the second counterspell to deal with the Archaeomancer. Basically, I never want an Archaeomancer to resolve ever, because it just generates so much advantage. Like, it opens me up to Ghostly Flicker shenanigans is the biggest worry. So I think they're just attacking, and then they're going to play the Archaeomancer, which is fine. I'll counterspell it, and then use the memory lapse to deal with any counterspell they have. And they don't have enough mana to cast 2 counterspells because of the, they only have 4 blue, and Archaeomancer takes 2 blue. Right, so now they're trying to cast it off of 1 black, black, blue. So, alright, they just passed turn. I will gladly take the opportunity to flashback Teachings for another Teachings. Alright, another land is solid here. It's not great, but it's solid. And one of the things with this, like with this deck against slower decks, is I feel like we have to play really quickly. Because if we don't play really quickly, we're just gonna, yeah, that's okay. We're just gonna time out. But our opponent's taking a little while, so it's like I have a minute more than them. That's fine. I eventually have to start scrounging or, okay, so they'll have 5 blue sources after they untap, 6 if they play another land. I eventually have to start scrounging or swarming. Probably not yet, though. I'm gonna cast this Teachings. And I think I'm going to get an Exclude here. So that I can just, oh, Skred's a fine draw. The Exclude will let me fight over Archaeomancer in a more effective way. A little short on blue mana. This is a little awkward. We're definitely bringing in Pyroblasts. I'm not sure what else, if we want anything else. I don't think we want anything else. I think we're just bringing in Pyroblasts. Okay. I will... Alright, so now we're going to flashback Teachings. And we'll Skred once this Teachings resolves. I don't want to keep taking chip shots here. Okay. Grab a Teachings, Skred one of your guys. If they have Ghostly Flicker plus Counterspell, we're in a bit of trouble, but if they just have the Flicker, or if they want to save the Counterspell for later, we're okay. I doubt that they would refrain from fighting over a Flicker, though. Flicker is just too good if it resolves here, so... Alright. So here you're seeing the power of, like, Teachings for Teachings kind of thing. That's, it's a really, really great way to like, gain card advantage while still, like, kind of remaining in position to interact a little bit with your opponent. And now we're just in a beautiful situation here. We're taking 1 damage a turn. We have 3 counterspells that we can cast. And we have a Teachings in hand, so really the onus is on the opponent to start interacting. I feel like I want to get the Sprout Swarm with this Teachings to start making inroads on the board a little bit. It's not, It's not great for us to just keep getting beaten down here. And if we play the Scrounger, we kind of have to fight over it because I'm sure they have. Excuse me. I'm sure they have a bunch of like Chander's Edicts and Doomblades in hand. So if they just go to end step here, I'm gonna Teachings and then cast Sprout Swarm. No, I'm not gonna cast Sprout Swarm with buyback. Yeah, that's fine. The problem with Sprout Swarm with buyback when our shields are down is that they can just counter it, and then we have to jump through some hoops with this Scrounger to get it back, and it's just a pain. But we want to make their creature removal dead. So I'm gonna Teachings for the Swarm, and then I'll leave it in my graveyard to flash back to go get something I care about. We haven't cast a single accumulated knowledge this game, but that's fine. We're not really needing to, and we haven't really had the time to be honest. So Pulse doesn't get us anywhere. Brainstorm doesn't really get us anywhere. It does let us get rid of this dead Electrickery and shuffle away this Scrounger, though. I'm going to get Sprout Swarm, and then next we can get the Electrickery. Alright. This is good. This is fine. Drawing the accumulated knowledge is not bad. It lets us flashback Teachings to go grab another one. And the great thing about all the accumulated knowledges being in the second half of our deck is that we'll churn through them faster. Yeah, it's fine. Now that we have the Sprout Swarm, our opponent really kind of has to start casting spells into our counter wall here, because if they don't, we just keep making 1/1s. Yeah, so that's gonna get excluded. You can't come to my party. I don't have time for you right now. I will, I guess, counterspell their counterspell, I think. No, that's not true. I'll memory lapse their counterspell. And they have 2 blue left, so they have 1 more counter. I have 1 more counter. Alright. It worked. And we draw another accumulated knowledge, so that's great. They're going to let the first one resolve, of course. And then they might counter the second one, but that's okay. We have 2 more. Oh, wow, they didn't. And we draw another one. Okay. So yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about like churning through our deck with the consecutive accumulated knowledges. We're going to eventually have to cast this Battlefield Scrounger and fight over it, but I want to hit more land drops before then. We have 3 more snow-covered islands in the deck, and 1 more, like a Shimmering Grotto and this Unknown Shores that I want to get into play. So that I have like the most mana to fight over Scrounger. Also, resolving Scrounger as late as possible is just good. So we're a full 2.5 minutes ahead of our opponent. I guess I will... I don't really need to cast this knowledge. 4, 5. Cast with buyback. Opponent's going to try to counter it, which is okay. Alright. Yeah. That's good for now. Oh, Brainstorm. So we have... we've used 3 Barons, but we haven't used any Terramorphic Expanses, so I'm going to lead on this. Put back this Electrickery and maybe the Scrounger, and then shuffle. Yeah, so... Yeah, Doomblade's fine. Okay. We draw Skred for the Seagate Oracle, which is good to clear things out. So yeah, Electrickery does nothing, and I don't want to draw Scrounger for a while, so I'm going to shuffle these away. Get another island, and pass the turn. I don't have a ton, like I'm out of counter magic in my hand, which is not the best, but I think it's fine. I'll respond with a pulse, or with a knowledge. That resolves, and we have all the counters. Okay. Well, I'm just going to rewind that. They're going to fire back with the counter spell that we put on top earlier with Memory Lapse, or not, and then I would prohibit it, but they did not fire back. So they're probably saving the counter spell to fight over Sprout Swarm, because that's our only way to actually win the game. Alright, or they're just trying to Muldrifter. Sure, I will counterspell that, though, and we can prohibit their counterspell. Alright, or they're just still not fighting over it, so I'm going to Scred that. Alright, and we draw the last accumulated knowledge, so that's great. We have 2 more islands left in the deck, and then I have the Unknown Shores and Shimmering Grotto in hand. I'm going to cast this knowledge while their shields are down. It'll make me discard, but that's fine. I don't really mind discarding this this pulse so much. We could always put it back with Scrounger. Do we discard? Actually, we have to discard this. We have to discard an Evolving Wilds, because if we draw one more island, then the next Wilds won't be live. All right, we'll cast this. 3, 4, 5. Great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can leave Prohibit up, so yeah. Cast with buyback. 5. Alright. So now we have a clock. We draw the other island, which means I want to fetch with this right now. So that, just to get the last one out of our deck, so that like other Barreds and Wilds aren't dead. I'm going to start putting my opponent on a clock, because we have limited time. Yep. That's completely fine. I'm not going to fight over the 1/1s. We're just going to fight over this Sprout Swarm if we need to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Another island, and one more turn before we can like start going crazy. Alright, yeah, sure. Spend a whole card on something I spent 0 cards on. Go for it. So Rewind is obviously great in this matchup, but I feel like my opponent didn't pick their spots very well, too. They just haven't really been doing that well. And I don't want to cast another one. Sure. That's the Electrickery. I don't know why that green border's around it. Weird. Maybe it's like this one was the last created or something. I don't know. It's strange. Maybe Magic Online's just glitching. Yeah, I'll just Scred that if I need to. We're basically just waiting until we draw Scrounger, and I want to keep all of my counterspell mana open to fight over Scrounger if they try to counter it. So, but I don't really care because I can win really quickly anyway without the Scrounger. Are they flickering? I'll counter a flicker. Actually, I might not. If they're just like... Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Gives them a 2-for-1, but like... I just get to like Sprout Swarm a bunch. No. Not the third time. That's fine. They get to look at the top two, but like we have 6 cards. We have 6 tokens, so game's gonna be over in a second, and we'll have like even time about going into game 3, but that's completely fine because we're up a game. They block, they take 5. I make 2 more end of turn, and they'll just keep getting whittled down. I have a faster clock than them, so that's completely okay. Yeah, Preordain's fine. Can like try to get fancy with Pulse and then Sprite the Preordain, but I don't need to. It's just not necessary. Alright, that's annoying. Yeah, they can't race. Hup. Hup. And then casting another one would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would only leave me 3 mana up, so we will not do that. There's Scrounger. Still not really interested in casting it. I'll go ahead and spread this Oracle, though, so I don't have to discard. Although discarding the Electrickery is not really a problem. Yeah, that's gotta get prohibited. I don't have the time left in the round to deal with that, so I'm gonna fight over it. Worked. An opponent will be dead in 2 turns. Even with a Ghostly Flicker. So they take 6 down to 8. Well, no, with a Ghostly Flicker, they're dead in 3 turns. Reaping the Graves for a bunch. Can't really stop that. I don't really care about stopping that so much. I'll just counter the Archaeomancer. Don't think we're going to... Whoops. Don't think we're gonna... Don't think we're in any sort of position to lose this one. Yeah, opponent goes to 7, and we could probably kill them next turn no matter what. We'll just counter what they get. Yeah, they're grabbing the Echoing Decay, so I'd rather fight over that than the Archaeomancer. So now they can get a counterspell for the Echoing Decay. But that's fine. Again, I can just counter what they get instead of fighting over this. And then overloading Electrickery actually lets me take out those 2 after they block. Alright, yeah, so they're getting Counterspell to protect the Echoing Decay, which means I can't go overboard on Sprout Swarm this turn. Alright, well, they're just doing it. So 2, 3, 4, rewind. And hopefully they only have one. They only have the counterspell they got back. So the counterspell can resolve. I will rewind the Echoing Decay. Got it. Alright. I think I go for it here. I think I just go for the win. Great. That Barrens doesn't do anything, but we can play it. I mean, it's a land. And if the opponent can't kill one of them, we win. It's just lethal. I would go into the next game with extra time, like a minute ahead of our opponent. So, all right, we got there. We won that game on a mull to 4. That is just phenomenal. All right, so Capsize is great. And Pyroblast is great. I think that's all I want. Cards that are not good. Electrickery is just blatantly bad. Spellstutter Sprite is not the best. And then the rest of it is fine. Except that Rewind can be a little clumsy. I mean, it's been fine there. But once our opponent sideboards, and then I can cut 1 Scred. Magma Spray is really solid, but I don't need all 4 Screds, I don't think, especially when I'm bringing in these Pyroblasts. Then I'll cut 1 Rewind. Actually, you know what? Pulse doesn't do much. Pulse doesn't do much at all. I don't care about the life gain, and like... it does let us like not loop Scrounger, but I think we could fight to an advantage before that. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, the second island is great. It means we can cycle this Barrens for a Pyroblast, and then still be able to cast Counterspell next turn. Relic is a pain. I don't really have a way to deal with that other than capsizing it, which is a little ridiculous, but sure. Alright, Mountain. But I'm going to play this island here. They didn't activate the Relic. Oh, okay. That's fine. I don't know what they were worried about, but I'm a knowledge here. If they counter it, that's fine. If they don't, that's also fine. Teachings is good. Teachings is very good. So if they just like activate Relic, I can cycle the Ash Barrens in response. If they just like tap it, like we get to cycle, so they don't eat our thing. And I think I get him out Swamp here, so I can flashback Mystical Teachings. Okay. I will Pyroblast that. Sure. Can't do anything about that. Not right now, anyway. And, like, in order to manage this Relic, I want to fight over things as aggressively as I can. Where were you last turn? Jeez. So that my opponent, like, so that I have other things to exile than the accumulated knowledge. So that's my basic plan. But also we could just end up timing our opponent out here. Like that's getting Pyroblasted. Yeah, we'll exile Pyroblast, sure. And they're bouncing the swamp, I guess. Yeah. Oh, I should have excluded that and held up Pyroblast. That was not the best. Okay. Okay. That was a little mistake there. Alright, that's getting excluded. But I can memory lapse if they try to counter back. Memory lapse your counterspell, which is risky business, but it's fine. Yeah, sure. Go away, Pyroblast. That goes on top. We counter that and draw a card. Rewind is neat here. Lets us like rewind into teachings. But it's not the best because, again, our opponent just doesn't like we don't have enough to protect it with counterspell, and our opponent has that counterspell on the top of their library. But we're still in good shape. I'm not gonna narrate quite as much because we have to like save on time. So I'm gonna focus on Plague. I'll talk to you all about any like unusual plays. Jeez. Yeah, that's fine. So Plague gets resolved because we put the Scrouger back, and then we get to teachings and shuffle it away. If they counter it, I stopped on our upkeep, so we can teachings at our upkeep as well. They just let it resolve. Okay. What am I gonna do? I don't need another teachings yet. Probably the last Pyroblast. Actually, maybe it's accumulated knowledge, I think. There we go. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Hopefully this will induce like a full-on relic activation. Alright, that's great. That's great. Now we don't have to worry about that thing anymore. Like the bane of my existence for forever. Alright, here's another island. Skred is a great draw. Alright, and we're in a good position here. Opponent's down 30 seconds. I'm Skred, end of turn. No. That's not happening. That is nowhere near happening. Alright. Skred your rats. Counterspell your counterspell. And here we see the beauty of rewind into teachings. And now I need to find another teachings. Which is not the best when I'm empty-handed, but it's fine. Can turn that stop off. Sure. So I have enough mana to flash back teachings and hold up Pyroblast, which is good. It's fine. They can preordain as much as they want. It's not actually drawing them cards. And it takes them time. Yep. I guess we grab teachings again. No, that can't be right. We can get counterspell. We can get rewind. I like accumulated knowledge though. It's a good one. All right. Island is made for you and me. Well, just me. Don't need my opponent playing islands. All right. No. Don't have enough to capsize with buyback and hold up counterspell mana. I'd rather hold up counterspell mana. Teachings end of turn. Yeah, we need another teachings. You. Yep. Alright, so now we have to draw the thing naturally, but we can start capsizing. We have to draw the sprout swarm naturally, but we can overload them with capsize. Mm-hmm. Should have waited. Okay. That counters our capsize, but I don't have time to worry about it right now. They still bounce a land, so I just don't have the time. I can have 6 here because it's my turn. We have to counter that, because otherwise we have to put it on top of our library, and now we're actually a little bit behind. Oh! Ah! Second relic is real bad. Alright. We probably lose this game. I have one more aqueduct. Please don't have a ghostly flicker. Nope. Alright. Rewind's good. Not sure we have the time for it, though. Okay, they popped the relic. That's fine. Preordain's fine. Like, 30-second difference. Again, we have to do that. Alright, another rewind is good. They have Swamp in hand. They play other rats, respond to the trigger by scredding them. And they counter it, but that's fine. Mm-hmm. I just need to find Sprout Swarm. Memory lapses. I'm dead. I guess we have to Sprite now. Can't afford to Scrounger. Wonder what would happen if we turned off all our stops. They can't kill us in a single minute, right? They just don't have the time to play everything and stuff. So turn off our stops, F6, let them try. I think they have to iterate too much to like physically be able to do it. Capsize is way too slow. Rewind slows us down way too much. Bring in the other Scrad. Alright. We'll try it. Keep. I'm going to turn off all stops on their turn. I don't have a counterspell. Sure. Alright, now I turn off all the stops. Because they just can't kill me. We have to attack 9 times in 20 seconds. Yeah. That's fine. Alright, our opponent loses on time. Okay, they conceded. So that felt like kind of a cheap way to win, but at the same time, the clock is there for a reason. And they spent more time than us, you know? Like, you have 25 minutes for a game. If you can't finish the game within 25 minutes, then you should lose the game. We were playing under the same parameters. The parameters were clearly understood before the match started, and they used the parameters in a less effective way. And that's ultimately all it comes down to. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for round 2.